And welcome. Today we're diving into something really powerful, catching insurance fraud in its tracks. And we're not just going to talk about it, we're actually going to build a solution. We're going to put together a digital fraud detective right from scratch, using nothing but the tools inside the Snowflake platform. So first, let's just get a sense of the scale we're dealing with. Over $40 billion. And that's a conservative estimate of what insurance fraud costs every single year. I mean, that is a massive financial drain that ends up meaning higher premiums for all of us. It's a problem that's screaming for a modern, data-driven solution. So that brings us to the big question, right? In a world where everything happens instantly, how on earth do you spot a fake claim before the money is already out the door? Well, the answer is all about shifting our mindset. We have to stop looking at data from days or weeks ago and start analyzing it the very moment a claim is filed. To do that, we're going to follow this really simple 4-step blueprint. First, we need to ingest the clues, and we need to do it in real time. Then, we'll prep that evidence, so it's actually useful. After that, we'll use a little machine learning magic to spot the weird stuff, the anomalies. And finally, we're going to automate the whole thing so it's always watching. All right, let's get our hands dirty. Step 1, getting the clues. You know, any good investigation kicks off with fresh evidence. And for us, that means grabbing claims data the very second it gets created. The main tool we're going to use for this is called Snowpipe. Honestly, just think of it as the eyes and ears of our system. It's this serverless service that just sits there and watches a location, like an S3 bucket. The moment a new file with claims data lands there, bam, Snowpipe automatically pulls it right into Snowflake. And here's the best part. Setting it up is ridiculously easy. A single SQL command, like you see here, creates this pipe, and you just tell it auto-ingest. And that's it. Our system is now officially live, pulling in any new claim file the instant it shows up 24/7 with zero manual effort. Okay, so having all this raw data flowing in is awesome, but it's not quite enough. It's kind of like a witness who only speaks a language you don't understand. Our system needs to make sense of the clues. So this next step is all about shaping that raw data into something meaningful. This whole process has a fancy name, feature engineering. But don't let that intimidate you. We're not adding new information. We're just pulling out the critical signals that are already hiding in there. For instance, we can take a simple timestamp on a claim and turn it into a brand new feature, like the specific hour of the day it was filed. And this quote just perfectly illustrates why that's so important. Look, a claim filed at 3 a.m. could be totally legit, but statistically, it's a pattern that pops up a lot with fraud. So this one little engineered feature can become one of the biggest red flags for our model. And again, Snowflake just makes this incredibly straightforward. We're just using standard SQL functions, like extract. You can see here we're just pulling out the hour. We could do the day of the week, the month, whatever. This makes our dataset so much smarter and gets it ready for the real analysis that's coming next. All right, now for the really exciting part. We've got our data streaming in, it's all prepped and ready to go. So it's time to unleash our machine learning detective to find that fraudulent needle in this massive haystack of claims. For this, we're going to use Snowflake's built-in anomaly detection function. Now, this is a type of unsupervised machine learning, which is absolutely perfect for what we're doing. It means the model basically teaches itself what normal looks like just by observing the data. We don't have to give it a list of known fraud cases. It just figures out the baseline and then flags anything that looks really different. Now check this out, because this is what's really cool. The model's output isn't just a simple yes or no. Instead, it gives every single claim an anomaly score. And you can see right away, claim number 123 with a score of 0.91 is a massive outlier compared to the others. That's our system raising a giant red flag, telling an investigator, hey, you need to look at this one right now. Spotting fraud is one thing, but obviously a human can't sit there running this query every minute of every day, so the final piece of our puzzle is to automate this whole pipeline. We need to build a watchtower that never, ever sleeps. So how do we do that? We connect all our pieces together with two more powerful Snowflake features. First, something called a stream basically keeps track of any new claims that arrive. Then, a task is scheduled to run our anomaly detection query, but only on those new claims, automatically flagging anything that looks suspicious. This little piece of code right here sets the whole thing in motion. We're creating a task, we're calling it fraud_task, and that schedule part, that's just a way of telling it to run every hour, on the hour. It automatically runs our machine learning query and shoves any high-scoring anomalies into a special fraud alerts table for someone to take immediate action on. So there you have it. We've built a complete end-to-end pipeline. But before you go off and implement this, let's just quickly cover a few key best practices to make sure your system isn't just effective, but it's also secure and efficient. First off, security is paramount. Always use role-based access control to make sure only the right people can see this sensitive data. Second, you want to keep an eye on performance and cost. Monitor your query history, see how things are running. Third, and this is a big one, before you go live, test your model against some fake fraud data to see how well it actually works. And finally, the beauty of this whole architecture is that it scales effortlessly. It'll work just as well on 1,000 claims as it will on 1,000,000,000. We've focused entirely on catching insurance fraud today, but this blueprint is so much more versatile than just that. This same pattern, real-time ingestion, transformation, and ML analysis, can be used to uncover countless other hidden insights. So the real question I want to leave you with is this: what invisible patterns are just waiting to be discovered in your